Well, folks, there's a rule in the media when it comes to media narratives about crime. Black person shoots a white person, not a news story. White person shoots a black person, giant news story. In national news, the president of the United States has now invited Ralph Yarl to the White House. He tweeted out an invitation to Ralph Yarl, for those who have missed it. Well, you must have been under a rock, because the president of the United States has now invited him to the White House. What did Ralph Yarl do? Now, maybe Ralph Yarl deserves, like as a person, to visit the White House, but not for the reason why he's being invited to the White House. He's being invited to the White House because he got shot by a white guy. He's a 16-year-old black kid, and he knocked on the wrong door, and an 84-year-old crazed homeowner, apparently, shot him twice through the door. Shot him once in the head and once in the arm. And because he is black, and because the shooter is white, Ralph Yarl gets a White House invite. Apparently, the teenager is also set to meet with the mother of Ahmaud Arbery. You remember Ahmaud Arbery? He is the black Georgian who was jogging through the neighborhood, or alternatively running from some sort of empty lot, like a house under construction, and he was confronted by some white guys in a truck who attempted to block his pathway. They struggled over a gun, and then he got shot. And those guys are in jail for first-degree murder. Well, now they're meeting together to talk about, the inherent racism of American society, presumably, and all the rest of this. And Joe Biden tweeted out about all of this. Joe Biden has decided that Ralph Yarl should visit the White House. Just a very moving display from the president of the United States. His tweet is, typical Joe Biden. He suggests about gun violence, but really we know that this is about race, because there's certain people he's not inviting to the White House. I mean, for example, some of the people he's inviting to the White House to talk about gun violence, not the families of the actual victims of the Nashville shooter who shot a bunch of Christian kids. Those families still have not been invited. The people who have been invited are, of course, the Tennessee Three. According to the New York Post, President Biden has invited the 3 Tennessee Democrats who faced expulsion votes to the White House, a day after 2 of them were ousted from the state legislature for protesting against gun violence. This goes back to about a week and a half ago. The White House still, at that point, had not invited any of the families of the victims in the Covenant school shooting. And that happens to be the case still. So people who get invited to the White House include people like Justin Jones and Justin Pearson, 2 of the Tennessee Three grandstanding racial conflagrationist idiots in Tennessee. And also Ralph Yarl, a black victim of a white shooter. All of this, of course, is because of race. Right? This is the rule in the White House. If the narrative for the White House is that if you are a minority in the United States, you're inherently victimized by the white supremacist system. And therefore, if we can use you as sort of the case par exemplar, that this is going to be the case that shows that our agenda is real, you will get an invite to the White House. If it's not, well, we don't care about you at that point. And Karine Jean-Pierre was asked directly about this. She's like, so why is it that the Nashville victims still haven't been invited, but pretty much everybody else is being, so long as they have the right color? She has no answer.
So Monday, you're going to have 3 of the lawmakers who protested
peacefully protested.
Who peacefully protested after the Nashville Covenant school shooting. Have any of the victims or the victims' families been invited to the White House?
I don't have anything to read out to you about any invite.
Why?
I just don't have anything at this time to read out to you any invite. What I can say to you right now is that the president is focused on getting things done.
He's focused on getting things done. Yes, getting things done means inviting a couple of grandstanding morons from Tennessee, cosplaying the revolution, and also inviting a 16-year-old black kid who got shot by a white homeowner. That's getting things done. See, that's how it works in the White House. Getting things done is grandstanding. It is the same thing. It is grandstanding. All because it ties into the agenda. Yarl's family attorney, he says that what they really need to push for is legislation in Missouri to protect blackness. Here was the family attorney for Ralph Yarl.
A white 84-year-old man charged with shooting and wounding a black teenager last week in Kansas City, Missouri, freed last night on bond, due in court today.
We need new legislation to protect blackness in this country because blackness is under attack. What is this case about? It's a case about blackness.
Lee Merritt's the attorney for teen Ralph Yarl's family and calls it a hate crime.
Oh, blackness is under attack. Now, as we've discussed a couple of days ago, we went through all of the statistics on interracial violence in the United States with regard to black and white. In 2019, 84% of all violent crimes committed between blacks and whites was committed by blacks against whites. But we don't talk about any of that sort of stuff because it's uncomfortable. So instead, we have to promote the agenda. which is why, again, Joe Biden is inviting idiots. And they really are. They're intensely stupid people, like Justin Jones in Tennessee. We'll get to that momentarily. First, it's time to talk to you about DailyWire's most trusted privacy partner and premier sponsor of my show, ExpressVPN. So ExpressVPN, one of the places I use to help keep my phone safe, for example. Are you aware your browsing data is constantly being tracked and monitored? Have you ever stopped to think about who has access to that information, what they might be doing with it? If you're like most people, you probably haven't given this a ton of thought. The truth is, your browsing data can reveal a lot about you, your interests, habits, locations, even your identity. Every time you visit a website, click on a link, or make a purchase online, you're leaving a digital trail that can be monetized by advertisers and data brokers. They use that information to target you with ads and promotions tailored specifically to you. The more data they have, the more accurately they can target you. This is just one of the reasons I use ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN encrypts my internet traffic, hides my browsing data from prying eyes, which makes it way more difficult for anybody to intercept my data or track my activity online, from hackers to the ad agencies to big tech to the government. I love ExpressVPN. It's really easy to use. You click one button, it's on your phone, on your computer. You click another button, it is ready to go. Secure your online activity by visiting expressvpn.com/Ben today. That's expressvpn.com/Ben. You get an extra 3 months for free. expressvpn.com/Ben. Now, all of this is enough to make you question the universe, but you have to reconnect with your faith if you wish to find meaning in your life. Regardless of your religion, we all need a little bit more connection in our life. Hallow is an incredible app that offers a unique approach to prayer and meditation. Unlike other meditation apps, Hallow is tailored specifically for people of faith to deepen their relationship with God. The Hallow app is filled with studies, meditations, and reflections that are rooted in Judeo-Christian prayer practices. You can pray alongside Mark Wahlberg, Jonathan Rumi, who portrays Jesus in The Chosen, even some world-class athletes. You can access the #1 Christian podcast, Bible in a Year with Father Mike Schmitz, on Hallow. Hallow will help you maintain that daily prayer routine with features like progress tracking and streaks. You can stay motivated and make prayer a regular part of your daily routine. Set prayer reminders, invite others to pray with you, track your progress along the way. And we in the Orthodox Jewish community, we pray 3 times a day. That's actually part of the laws that govern our lives. But for a lot of Christians, it's hard to find time to pray during the day. How do you connect? Hallow makes it easy. If you're looking to deepen your relationship with God and improve your mental and emotional well-being, try Hallow for 3 months free at hallow.com/Shapiro. That's hallow.com/Shapiro. So Justin Jones, this is a person who deserves to go to the White House. Well, why? Well, because he's the kind of person who shows up at the Tennessee State Capitol with a fake child's coffin, carrying a fake child's coffin, which is not there to signify, the dead children abortions, obviously. No. That's there to signify the kids at Covenant School whose families Joe Biden will not invite to the White House. It's just grandstanding of the highest and most disgusting order. I mean, literally carrying around the graves of children to pretend that you are somehow morally virtuous. And meanwhile, calling everybody else racist. It's just gross. It's just gross. Here we go.
You can walk with me, but you have a right to bring this in.
Well, I mean, you don't have a right to bring props, so far as I'm aware, onto the floor of the House.
I'm bringing this in as a representative of my district, 78,000 people who sent me here. No other members told what they can bring into this building.
You all wanted us to go up. Why are we not being allowed to go up?
You cannot.
This is a member. This is a member.
I have my badge here.
And I'm again.
And he's coming to the House floor. You can call the sergeant.
Just grandstanding garbage. I mean, really gross. And by the way, has anybody asked the families of the victims whether they are okay with Justin Jones carrying graves to symbolize, like, actual coffins, child-sized coffins to symbolize their kids? Has anybody asked that? If this were somebody on the right doing this, there'd be people at the family's house asking those questions, but it's not. It's somebody on the left. And it's a black man from the left who's doing this, which means the media don't ask any questions. This person is obviously a hero. And Justin Jones then says, he signs into the Ralph Yarl debate too. He says, well, if Ralph Yarl had been white, then things would have been totally different. Here we go.
I'll say Ralph, who's 16, that you are a child and you are a young man who we should have protected, and that this system has failed to protect, that our politics have failed to protect, and you deserve better than that. And that no gun is worth your life, no bullet, no worship of this gun culture is worth your life and your well-being. And so I hope that you recover, and I hope that his family knows that we stand with them and that we're sending them strength and encouragement from Tennessee, whether from here or there, that we stand together and that we are going to do this, and that until this attack against a young black man is treated as abhorrent as the attack if it was a young white man, that we who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes.
What? The guy who shot him is going to go to jail for the rest of his life. and should go to jail for the rest of his life. But again, this all ties into the broader lie. It is a lie that America is a white supremacist country that is inherently victimizing black people. That's what this is about. But I'm going to tell you the story of a person who is going to get no White House calls. Somebody who's not going to get any coverage on MSNBC. Somebody for whom no one will speak. And there's a very obvious reason why this person is not going to be, we're going to mention his name on the show. You're not going to know it tomorrow because the media are going to stop saying it. Because this is not an important person. The way we can tell whether somebody is important in the mainstream media is whether it fits the narrative or if it doesn't fit the narrative. You know the names of black victims of white perps. You know their names. You know Arbery's name. You know George Floyd's name. You know Ralph Yarl's name. I'll tell you a name that you're not going to know before I say it, and then not much after I say it, because the media don't care about people like this. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you a story. It's a story that you don't know, and you're not going to hear again, probably for the rest of time. Because, again, it doesn't fit the narrative, and that's all that matters to our media. This is not a hero of the Republic in the way that Ralph Yarl is now a hero of the... Again, Ralph Yarl sounds like kind of an extraordinary kid, but he should be celebrated because he's an extraordinary kid, not because he got shot by an old white guy. But that's not the way it works. So here's a person who, again, you'll never hear of again. His name is Blake Mose. Okay, Blake Mose is a Home Depot security guard. And as the New York Post reports, a California Home Depot security guard and Boy Scout leader was murdered Tuesday when he tried to stop a woman from stealing an electrical item before she and her boyfriend fled with their toddler in the back of the car. Blake Mose, 26, caught Benisha Knaps allegedly in the process of snatching what may have been a phone charger from the store shelves around 2:15 p.m., according to Pleasanton police. A struggle ensued after Mose chased her to the store's loading dock, but Knaps fired her gun and ran off, cops allege. Knaps, 32, allegedly escaped into a getaway car driven by her boyfriend, David Guillory, 31, with her 2-year-old child in the back seat. As Mose heavily bled inside the home improvement store, he was rushed to a hospital, but succumbed to his injuries. These are pictures of the perpetrators. They're both black. Blake Mose is a white guy. By the way, these are the perfect specimens of wonderful humanity here. Not because of race, but because they are evil shooters who have a toddler in the back seat while they murder someone and steal a phone charger. But this is not a national, this is a local news story. Knaps and Guillory were stopped in Oakland, 20 miles from the Home Depot, and arrested by deputies 15 minutes after the shooting. Knaps, a licensed security guard with priors for theft, was charged with murder, robbery, child endangerment, and conspiracy. Guillory was arrested on a child endangerment charge and evading police and driving the wrong way. Knaps was then placed on a mental hold after she choked herself with a seatbelt in the back of the Alameda Sheriff's Department police cruiser until she lost consciousness. Cops found a handgun at the intersection near the store. The Knaps toddler was released to relatives. Apparently, Mose was an active community leader who had an interest in pursuing law enforcement as a career and had plans to get married this summer. Well, he won't be married, obviously, because he was murdered. He was murdered. He was a volunteer for the Boy Scouts of America after he'd been a member, longtime member. This is a picture of Mose with his fiancée. They're scheduled to get married this summer. He's dead. The people who shot him are a black woman accompanied by a black male with their toddler in the backseat of the car. Is Blake Mose going to get a call from the White House? Anybody think he's going to get a call from the White House? His family, his fiancée. You think? I don't think so. You think she's going to be invited to the White House to talk about the evils of gun violence? Don't think so. Have serious doubts. Why? Because for Joe Biden, it's not about gun violence. It's about the race. It's about the race. This is all racial pandering nonsense. Coming up, we're going to be jumping into the mailbag. You're not going to want to miss it. If you want your question answered in the mailbag, you do have to be a DailyWire Plus member. So become a member, use code Shapiro at checkout for 2 months free on all annual plans. Click that link in the description and join us.